So hope people still awake. But I guess that we all go through very interesting presentation from our speaker today. Especially, I love the presentation regarding to the ROI. So we will have some question on that. First thing first, so I thought that the format will go high level from KPMG with Phuc first. We heard about the high level and thought leadership regarding to how we can applying new tech in marketing, especially Gen AI, to improve the CX and how we apply it into Vietnam market, right? And then we go to mixed panel and CleverTap on how specific solution like CleverTap and mixed panel can add value to the customer and the business. And then we go to very specific case study of OCB, how they use new tech in marketing and generative AI to provide more value to the customer, right? So start with you first, and Phuc. Just a moment. So many questions. I take note when I heard your guys present. Let's say, okay. So in Vietnam, right? Even the thing like Martech, generative AI, CDP now become normal. But some of the executive board member, owner of the business, they still not clear about the value of those solutions. They may heard a lot, they may read a lot, but actually what is the real benefit for the company? And that is a challenge when we at the internal team proposing some solution in Martech to the board or to the owner. They still very wonder whether it's worth to invest on that. And at the Big Four consulting, right? And some of the engagement of KPMG regarding to improving the CX for your customer. What's your advice to some people here if they want to propose a solution to the board? What's the key point need to talk to the executive?
So I think with every investment, you need to when you talk to the board, you need to point out like what pain points do you want to resolve. That has to be very clear. So linking it back to what is the real issue here, because when we talk about new technology, new digital technology like AI, there's so many use cases. So really about pain points and then quantifying. The magic is all, and we've seen good presentations before about how to quantify the ROI. That is very important because in the end it's all about numbers, and in every investment that you do, will you get more in return or not? So that's really something that I think often with technology implementation, that the quantification, the business case, like to make it very clear that there's some difficulties in there.
Okay, thank you. So one more question on you, right? So if there's a thing stop the executive team to say yes into any proposal in the Martech or generative AI tool or CDP, for example, from your experience, what's the more reason for them to say no for that? We all have the answer for say yes, right? There's a thing to solve the problem. There's a benefit outcome, but what is the reason for them to say no?
What I hear the most is like other priorities, because you only have one bag of money and you can only invest in a few things. So often what I see is like there are other priorities, and then it comes back to the marketing folks to say, hey, but this is more important than other areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the answer is it's all about priority and where to put the money in, right? It's not about a solution.
Yeah, because the solution is I think the solution is good. A lot of solutions that we see, of course it has its value, otherwise it won't exist. But then often with boards and C-level, it's really convincing them about what is the priority for the business?
Oh, thank you, Phuc. So my pick from the answer is there's only the limited resource, especially money. So it's not about a solution, it's about a priority, and it's your task to convince the BOD, the executive, to spend the money in your project and try to serve them what is the value which is rated than the other to get the higher priority, right?
Yep.
Okay, so thank you, Phuc. The next question, I thought that I'd love to ask who will next, to be honest. So CleverTap. Right. So let's come from my example first. Sorry, I would love to ask this question because we, in my previous company, we also implement a CDP tool. So we try to do thing called personalization, or even thing you call hyper personalization, or even recommendation, and at the end of the day, it's failed. It's not about the feature of the tool you have in hand. It's about the process. It's about the interconnect between the system that you have in place. So we would love to learn from you. If you have the engagement, your tool is a very good tool. For example, we just saw CleverTap with another feature. But the endpoint system like e-commerce website, e-commerce app, CX platform, customer engagement tool, things like that is not, how to say, aligned or well connected or ready to have the total solution that can bring back the ROI. So what is your advice if you have that case?
Well, I think it's an awesome question. I think it's a great question because it comes back to how do you measure success, and at some point, how do you, once you have approval from a board, a director, how do you make sure that you can actually track the success? And in my case, I completely agree with what you said. There's the tool itself. There's how this tool is gonna, and evolve around the other systems, the website, the app, the CDP, all of things like maybe the point of sale that you want to connect so that you can have revenue data. I would like to also add that the team is extremely important, and measuring small wins is a must. If you've never been doing any kind of engagement and you say, hey, I've looked at how CleverTap does generative AI engagement, we're going to do that, I'm pretty sure you're going to fail. Because before that, there are so many steps where you need to actually start understanding events, what is important for you, how do you make sure that you go from stage 0 to stage 1 before you go to stage 100. So the team and checking the successes of the project will get you, I believe, faster to 100 than rather trying to hit 100 directly.
Thank you.
Can I add a little bit more here? Just want to share from customer engagement perspective, you probably have 2 different KPI from the team, right? A lot of time it all depends on not about the tool itself, but the marketing strategy behind. How would you want to apply your marketing strategy and do it through the tools? So sometimes it's not about the tools first and then marketing strategy. It's about the marketing strategy first and then the tools. And then another thing is need to understand the brand from the brand perspective. What do you want to achieve? If you do customer engagement, you want to generate revenue, right? For sure, a lot of brands want to do. But some of the brand, the premium brand, they probably want to improve just simply the customer engagement. So the customer experience, the CX issue. So it's more about understand your brand direction, define the right strategy so that you can achieve the growth correctly. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to mix together because it can be very, very confusing.
Thank you, Alfred. So because you answered questions, so I would love to go together with the presentation regarding to the CDP, right? So it's, we know that it's the data tool, right? Just engage the data, just transform the data, put it into different segments, get the people do segmentation easier, and then through activation channel to go push through the message. But more and more challenge come from the compliance side. So previously we very easy to get the data and use the data as much as we can. Now that luxury is nearly over. More and more legal requirements come to life. I thought that Phuc get more insight on that later on. I would love to hear from you. So we have the data system or platform, you call it. We get the data from people. And then we're just hearing that the CDP have the tool or feature to do consent management. But consent is not everything. Aside consent, there are many other rights of the data owner. So as the data platform or CDP, whatever you call it, how you ensure that the system that also comply with extra requirement aside consent?
That is very good questions, because CDP from the features perspective, yes, you can do the consent management. And consent management, you always split into two parts. One is about consent collections. How do you collect the right time of the consent and accurate consent from the customer? That is more on the front-end interface. But lots of organizations, they face the challenges. After I collect the consent, yeah, the simple consent can be, oh, whether you send an email, whether you send an SMS. But there's actually a lot more behind about how do you orchestrate your data across your ecosystem. That is where the CDP also come in to help you to orchestrate these consent data across your whole ecosystem. One example, for example, oh, I want to unsubscribe all kind of marketing. But from customer touchpoint perspective, it is actually not just about email and SMS. It can be ad targeting. It can be customer service call. It can be promotion, all that kind of thing. So it's talking about like data orchestration across the whole ecosystem. That is the key part of the CDP. How do we see how managing consent?
So, Phuc, any add-on on that?
We, in all the interactions that we have with our clients, the consent, like the data privacy and everything, it's now everybody's looking into it. I'm not sure that everybody understands it, and even we are looking with our legal folks, with our legal team to see how we can navigate. I think it's in the next couple of years, we are still figuring out how to put everything, all the pieces together. So I think it's there's no clear answer here. And if you ask, for example, the organizations here,
yeah. The next question I would love to ask.
I think there will
Frank,
be a lot of concerns here and a lot of challenges.
BFSI industry also put under very strict regulation from data protection, privacy protection, and now it's protect the personal information. How about the practice in the bank regarding to data compliance?
Yeah, actually this morning when I heard some like presentation about how to protect data in the AI area. So in the bank itself, we think about AI and data strategy with the goal, with the governance process, and we start with the governance process first before we build the application. Go sometimes like when we have like even the first phase of like we use CDP, we need to ensure that the PII information under the Circular 13 from State Bank is already issued. Last year. So need to ensure that the PII information is not on the and I think when we implement it, even pilot some generative AI use case for chatbot, we take it like to understand whether the customer has some hallucination on the answer, and also to find out whether the feedback from the customer and also from employee. So actually, we start with employee first and then customer later to see the feedback and then to even change the governance process for both data and AI when we apply it. Especially for marketing, I think for marketing and like CDP itself, in the bank, we have very funny use case, like many different marketing departments from retail, for SME, even our digital native banking called Luong Bank, they are using different tools. Different marketing like Martech tool for different purpose. And somehow the customer engagement might be overlap. And we actually face the same challenge, but the purpose of the tool to run with different teams is different. Some teams they try to acquire more customers, but some teams they just want to have like more loyal customer to upsell and cross-sell the same kind of product. So I think with this governance process, we need to apply not just for the tool itself, but start from the view from the banking from inside out. And from outside, I mean, like I hope that the tool like CDP tool can help us on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. So we back to the other subject that I thought that all of us concern is about how we measure the ROI. So we just have very good presentation regarding to how we measure the ROI. I picked my case. This is also my question. Because we, previous company is about retail. We do online retail. So marketing team, they spend a lot of money, marketing people here. And some of the people who do performance marketing is easy to measure because how many you spend, we can calculate the conversion rate. But the offline team, the offline marketing, they do branding, they do awareness, they do OOH, all of those things. They return KPI like risks, things like that. And then there's a gap and also there overlap between the online and offline spending. So how we can, separate the ROI between the online and offline, and how we can measure if we have a tool like CDP thing, how we can do it?
Yeah, because you mentioned about CDP, so let me pick that one first. So yeah, so it's all about attribution model that your company want to apply. So in theory, there's a lot of different attribution model you can use. So it's about like where is it the last touch point, someone is the first touch point, someone used the FH model, doesn't really matter. The key matter is whether you capture both the online and offline data in one single house. Because even if you do not have the data in one single house, you can't even measure it, right? You can't even build the model for it. So it's both of it. One is data collection, online, offline, put in single house, and the second one is apply a attribution model that applicable to your business. Honestly, different business will have different attribution model. Yeah.
There any advice on building the right model?
Gen AI?
Really?
No. So there's a different type. So it is a consultation strategy. Probably KPMG can come in and probably share more.
No, I want to add something. Like I don't have an answer with what's the right attribution model, but I want to share an example. I don't know if you've seen, like at the last Super Bowl, Kanye West, his brand Yeezy, he did an advertisement on TV during one of the half times. It cost him like $7 million for a few seconds of TV airing. And everybody was like, that seems like a few expensive seconds. What he did is that he actually went direct to consumer. He used to be selling through resellers, e-commerce platforms that sell his shoes. And the few questions that he had was, what is going to sell? So he sold everything at the same price, saying during this period, I'm going to be selling out all of my stock that I have, and I'm going to be selling everything at the same price. Whatever shoe, whatever, like one price for all. And it's still pretty expensive. I mean, he did make a lot of money out of it, But in terms of ROI, and I want to get there, I'm not too sure what it is, but I think it's a lot. Because he gained stuff that probably attribution model doesn't cater to, which is he understood what the market wants to buy. The first things that people bought. If they buy more shoes, then he needs to focus his development on shoes, because that's where he can have more people buying. He also had, and to me, the value is data. Because when he sold directly on his own website, he got all of the emails, phone numbers, and that to me is tremendous value at the same time. So before, when I love talking ROI, but I also want to know, like, what's the kind of value that you're after?
Thank you. So we talk about the ROI, right? Now the generative themes of this event is about customer experience. And then we heard a lot about generative AI, especially things like ChatGPT. There's a lot of, I would say, solution provider prevalent come to me, and I believe that come to all your guys talking about the chatbot using ChatGPT. Implement it will be improve the customer experience when they first landing into website app, then want to contact into asking about a solution or asking about a service and product that you sell. But there's also concern regarding to the correctness, the right information that the ChatGPT can return into to the customer. So we have the recent case of one airline. So they use the ChatGPT to respond, automatic respond to the customer, and then they respond the wrong information. Then they need to refund and pay some fine regarding to the providing the wrong information. So from your point of view, and Phuc, right? ChatGPT, in one hand, is a very good tool to improve the effectiveness of customer service, but also there's a risk if they are provided wrong information. So if you are an advisor for the business and the business want to implement the ChatGPT to improve the customer service, what is your advice?
So it comes back to that last slide that I presented, that the governance is very important. So you need to start with the governance and make sure that the integrity of your brand is not affected, whatever you implement later. So don't start with implementing and then think of oh, how do we make sure that certain mistakes cannot happen. Start with having a very good governance model, and then that's starting with the data, how you manage the data, how you use the AI to look at those data, and then also the testing. It's very important to do a lot of testing and make sure before you release.
So this is related to what Frank just talking about, the governance process, right? So do you using any GPT solution in OCP?
Just with the pilots. This morning when I have two friends from bank itself also explain about the use case in banking. And when we do a pilot with another ChatGPT, it is a generative AI chatbot, we found out that there are some use cases we can use, but some we cannot. I think some use cases that we can use, most of the use cases like because that virtual expert. It's very good if we summarize the compliance document, the process inside the bank, and give us some product information to IM. But it's not good if you directly engage with the customer and say the wrong information about their balance, or say wrong information about the product that they hate it. So it means like we need to define what is the we should use in each use case. And no, I don't think they have a wrong or right answer here. It's just like when we have the feedback loop from the customer and also the employee, we will find the right chatbot or the engagement solution. But for bank itself, I think only 4 use case it might be that is the best. First one may be the virtual expert, like summarization of virtual experts. The second one is on because that is the marketing content, more creative content. The third one may be for engineer. Code productivity is growing, maybe very good. for my software engineering team. They can do like 3 or 4 times productivity. And the last one maybe for the engagement. But for engagement, we need to define very niche use case to ensure that we use the right data for it. Yeah.
Thank you, Frank.
I want to add something here, if you don't mind, right? So there's a 2 part of ChatGPT can apply on the business. One part is, yes, the of course, like generation of content for marketing, amazing demo from CleverTap, that is absolutely right. So the second part that we need to look at is, there's some fact that will not be able to generate by the ChatGPT. Yeah, that is like I can't balance. That is the fact. I just having a media interview this morning, right? I just told them, right, if there is a news outside, the image that you capture, you'll never be able to use the ChatGPT to generate, because that is a fact to the business. So I would say it has to be combination of 2. One is looking at what scenario and use case that is about the fact. Then we use like the profile, and go back to the customer profile, get the right information. And then the second part is ChatGPT for customer engagement and marketing. Yeah.
I wanna try and understand. Like, I just wanna say, like, you know, what's the value? What's so in your case, the Gen AI was wrong, and the airline had to pay a fine, or you know, had to give some kind of reimbursement to the customer. But if I would like to actually look at what I believe is the bigger picture here, which is what do you compare it to? So without using this chatbot, I believe that there was probably a lot of people on the call center, you know, picking up calls, and that maybe sometimes a lot of people were annoyed because they had to wait for, you know, 15 minutes, and they're like, hi, we'll be with you shortly, like for 10 minutes, which to me, we don't get into the math or the ROI here, but it costs the brand a lot. So I'm not saying like it's okay for ChatGPT to, you know, be wrong and the price of this mistake, but I'd like to look also at the big picture. If this chatbot was able to get the customer happiness overall, not for this person, but overall, like get the response rate faster, maybe overall it's not such a bad thing.
Thank you, Mac. So we just heard a very perfect example of using Gen AI to improve customer experience. And we can see that with the help with technology, we can have now we have very powerful tool. Not only have the business grow, but also have the business to win the customer heart and love to the brand. And I thought that is the last question to the panelists, because we have the next session of more keynotes. So thank you all for spending time and answer some silly question for me, and hope that we bring some value to the audience for the discussion regarding to using the Gen AI Martech tool to improve the CX. Thank you.